Started the show. No, not with my face on, but a shameless promotion. Tonight, Chickies and Pete, South Philadelphia, 7 o'clock. We're going to have a little party. A Jason Kelce costume contest. Some fantastic prizes available for our winner. And, maybe our top three. Definitely people in the crowd. Speaking of which, someone special is going to be in the audience tonight. Not to anybody else, just me. VIP tickets to Birds taking on the Dallas Cowboys. That's going to go on the 29th. Courtesy of our friends at Tick Pick. Got a yellow gold Birds necklace. 14-karat yellow gold Birds necklace. Courtesy of Rosnov Jewelers. A stay at Ocean Casino. And then pretty much a Tick Pick credit is what's going to happen. Along with Foco swag at Cheese and Pizza in South Philadelphia. You can also enjoy the Kelce combo. It's actually designed by Jason Kelce himself. It's what he eats when he goes to Chickies and Pete's. It's a barbecue burger with crab fries and a garage draft beer. All the time at Chickies and Pete's garage draft beers. Just $4. This whole Kelce combo could be yours. You know what it could be yours for? $19.62. $19.62. Get it? Good. Welcome into the program. My name is Mark Farzan. I'll be down there tonight. As far as somebody special in the audience, how about this? Some years ago, 5 years ago, whatever, 6 years ago, I'm in a little place called Italy, and I'm in a little town called Siena. And my wife and I are walking around, and she spots this bar. The bar is called Bar Philadelphia. And now it's important to note, in the Italian language, the PF sound is not a thing, okay? So there's a Philadelphia, Italy. It's actually in the southernmost point of the mainland. But anyway, I look up and I'm like, oh my God. And it's spelled like Philadelphia, like PH. It's spelled like our Philadelphia. I'm like, no way. And I walk in, there's Sixers stuff, there's Flyers stuff, there's Philly stuff. And it's just this little, it looks like a wine cave more than anything. And it's like, oh, this is so cool, but they got Philadelphia memorabilia. This is great. So I ended up talking to the bartender, and through the very little Italian that I speak and the no English that she spoke, she told me that her brother worked in Philadelphia for a little bit, came back to Siena, opened a bar, called the bar Philadelphia. How cool is that? So my wife and I have stayed in touch with this bartender. We've been over there a couple of times and seen her. She's in the United States. She was just in New York for a week. She's in Philadelphia right now. She's going to be down there tonight. I'm going to try to hook her up with some Eagles swag and some garage beer swag, of course. When I did go over there the last time the Eagles had won the Super Bowl, and because they didn't have any Eagles stuff yet, I brought over a picture of Nick Foles holding up the Super Bowl trophy and that of the Lombardi trophy. And that, of course, is still hanging in Bar Philadelphia, Siena, Italy. How about that? And my friend Giovanna will be in attendance tonight at Chickies and Pizza in South Philly. So I look forward to that. Hey, you know what I didn't look forward to last night? I didn't look forward to the 76ers playing basketball. And I'll tell you why. They weren't going to win that game. The only way they were going to win that game is if Tyrese Maxey absolutely went off. And what's funny, not funny, what's interesting is that if you would have told me Tyrese Maxey shot 31 times, I would have told you he got 50. If he shot the ball 31 times, he dropped 50. In each of his 50-point performances, he has gotten 30 shots off, and he's netted 50. He netted he shot 31 times before and got 39 points. But usually, if he's shooting over 30 shots, he's getting 50. That didn't happen last night because Tyrese Maxey had one of his worst shooting nights of his career last night. 10 for 31. That ain't going to get it done. And unfortunately, there was no ungodly moment like a Buddy Hield going off for 8 threes or anything like that. No, Kelly Oubre had 21 last night. Okay, fine. Maxey finished with 25, by the way. There was nobody else on this squad. And of course, Buddy Hield's no longer here, just using that as an example. Like nobody came off the bench like Kelly, or nobody else stepped up, knocking down 3 after 3 after 3. And at one point, the Sixers, of course, are really hanging with the Bucks and midway through the second quarter. And then all of a sudden, the Bucks went overdrive, went on a small 12-4 run, and then never lost control after that. And whenever it seemed like the Sixers were going to come back in it, like, Maxey hit a 3 or Oubre hit a 3. Or Yabusele come up there and hit a three. All of a sudden, the Bucks just came right back and Lillard hit a three. Or Giannis had a driving dunk and an N1 and then missed for free chicken for everybody on 2 occasions. So that's what went down last night. And I said yesterday morning going into the game, I was thinking, all right, Maxey, give me 35 points in this game. Again, if you would have told me that he dropped or he shot 31 times, I would have told you he got 50. That didn't happen last night. I felt like this he was abandoned. Tyrese Maxey was abandoned last night. We'll get into that. We'll talk about the NBA, what they plan to do about this whole Joel Embiid situation, because it's the right thing to do. And we'll also let you know about what Daryl Morey had to say before the game. Taryn Hatcher, NBC Sports Philly, caught up with him. We'll go over some of the things that Daryl Morey had to say about this whole Joel Embiid fiasco. Also, Jalen Hurts addressed the media yesterday as the locker room was open as well. Nick Sirianni addressed the media. Here's the deal with the locker room sessions, okay? I got a little bit out of it. Ben Von Sumeren was actually interviewed. How about that? And yeah, just for Sean Kilrain in our chat, I got some Ben Von Sumeren sound. Talking about playing fullback, talking about playing linebacker, the dual threat offensively and defensively. It's natural for Ben Van Sumeren. Okay. We also got Cooper DeJean talking about the challenge that has been in front of them, playing against the Cincinnati Bengals. And we also have Jalen Hurts talking about the Eagles' identity. Now, if you've been listening to me for a while, you know that I hate the conversation about identity. I feel like identity is something you have to stay married to throughout a game. Oh, no, this is our identity. All right, well, sometimes your identity isn't the best thing for the matchup. Now, I do believe in bread and butter. And if you have a running back like Saquon Barkley, you're bread and butter. Everything should stem from the run game. If you have offensive weapons, though, that are at the disposal of Jalen Hurts, your identity can change at any moment. The only thing I disagree with having big plays as part of your identity, I mean, I don't care. But the only thing I disagree with is that I always believe that to steal this phrase from baseball, I've always believed that big plays should be accidents. Just like in baseball, home runs should be accidents. I feel the same exact way, and I've said this a million times, feel the same exact way about big plays. They should be accidents. It shouldn't be, all right, we're going to get 40 yards right here. No, that's not how it, no, please don't. The result of a missed tackle? Sure. A blown assignment defensively? Sure. Hell, get 60 yards out of that. But when you go, this right here, this is the 40, this is the 55, this is the 60-yarder. No, that's terrible. That's where you make mistakes. That's where you end up reaching. That's where you end up, remember the buzzword last year? Forcing. Turn on ESPN. Dan Orlovsky. Right here, Jalen Hurts is forcing the issue. Doesn't need to do that. Read CBSSports.com. Jalen Hurts forcing the issue. NFL.com. I know the problem is Jalen Hurts is forcing the issue. That's when you're reaching for the big plays. You're trying to force them into existence. That's where you make more mistakes. And that's where Jalen Hurts has made mistakes. You know, one of the most encouraging things about this game, I forget which one it was, but it was one of the sacks that Jalen Hurts had in the first half of this game where he was taken down, of course. And he looked around, saw that there was no escaping, and just went, I'm going to lay down now. And he just took it. There was no hero ball there. And he talked about it in yesterday's press conference. He said, yeah, we got the pressure and figured I'd just take this. Smart. If you can't get in a position to throw it away responsibly, where you could try to force an issue, not going for a big play, but just going for, not an 8-yard loss, and you're trying to throw it away quickly, you still could get the ball tipped out of your hand. You don't want to do that. So he just ate it. That's a responsible play. And the phrase Jalen Hurts used yesterday to talk about that play was interesting. You know what the phrase was? Oh, it's become bad. Oh, it's become real bad. Manage the game. I never, and we've gotten into this conversation, Seth Joyner and I and Derek Gunn, about game managers. It's certainly not the worst thing in the world. However, if you can shift into a game manager, which is all Jalen Hurts had to do to beat the Giants, then shift into game manager, because Jalen Hurts also has the ability to win you a football game. Whether it's throwing a dime down the sideline to A.J. Brown, or that's him scampering into the end zone in overtime against the Bills for an 11-yard touchdown run. Like, he has the ability to win you a game. When I think of a game manager, I think of somebody who can't really win you the game, but they're definitely not going to lose you the game. They're not going to overreach. They're going to be that point guard consistently. They're going to make sure everybody else gets their touches. They're going to make sure everybody else gets their points. And you know what? At the end of the game, if they get some flowers along the way for doing so, then they get some flowers along the way for doing so. Then I don't look at Jalen Hurts as a game manager. I look at Jalen Hurts as a guy that has the ability to take over a game and help this team win football games and more than just hey, here's a dink and dunk, 5 yards. You take it and make a play. Yeah, he can do that. But he can also air it out down the field to win you a football game. Or he himself could break off a 25-yard run, whatever the case might be. That's not a game manager. That's a guy that can win you a game. That's the difference. But I do like the idea because someone who's thinking hero ball is not telling you at any point, just trying to manage a game. So I loved hearing that yesterday from Jalen Hurts. He did talk about the big play identity of this football team when it comes to this offense. And he also talked about, and this is where I just think he flat out lied. Talked about this great defense he's going to be playing against the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll go over all that on today's program. As far as the 76ers go as well, we'll get into that conversation about Joel Embiid and Shams Charania, now of ESPN, putting it out there that the NBA is likely to investigate Joel Embiid and why the hell he's not playing. And I've already done my investigation. Guilty. He should be playing. Guilty. Anytime you acknowledge this is a plan, so these are planned days off. It's funny. I really thought that the in-season tournament would really motivate guys to want to play basketball because, in-season tournaments are all the rage, man. I thought you'd really want to win that in-season tournament. I'm shocked that this wasn't a motivating factor for Joel Embiid to, already be ramped up, needing no more ramping and playing. It's crazy that in-season tournament isn't just so motivating and inspiring to Joel Embiid. An in-season tournament didn't do it, really? Perhaps it's the floor. Anyway. Daryl Morey talked to Taryn Hatcher, NBC Sports Philadelphia, before the game last night. Everyone wanted to know what Daryl Morey was thinking. He also talked to, Kevin Agandi, friend of the show, about this whole thing with Joel Embiid. And he said it came down to a conversation he had with Joel Embiid about how Joel has never been full bore, was the term used, going into the playoffs. He's never been full bore going into the playoffs. And he'd really like to be full bore going into the playoffs. Hey, you know what? We all would like Joel Embiid to be full bore going into the playoffs. And not the Sixers be a full bore. You know what I mean? Anyway, waited all night to tell that joke. Anyway, so I look at Joel Embiid. And if you missed me yesterday on this, what I told you was very simple. It's a sad state of affairs that this is what the Sixers have to do. I'm at a point with the 76ers in the Joel Embiid era where I'm just saying, just whatever, just get it done. I don't care. I don't care how many games he plays in the regular season. As long as the Sixers are in the playoffs, sure, would I love for them to be a top 4 seed, a top 3 seed? Absolutely. Do I want them to avoid the play-in tournament? You're damn right I do. I don't want them playing in the play-in tournament. I don't like that. But if all that matters is Joel Embiid is ready to go in the postseason. Because as we follow the bouncing ball yesterday, whether it's the broken face, the concussion, whether it's the hand injury, whether it's a torn meniscus, whether it's gastroenteritis, it's always something. It's always something with Joel Embiid in the postseason. Overall fatigue, general soreness, it's always something with Joel Embiid. So if we only see him 50 times this season, yeah, imagine that. If we only see him 50 times this season. Okay. But the one excuse that I will absolutely lose my mind over is if the Sixers get bounced out in the first or second round again, and we hear Joel Embiid, well, he just needed to play himself into game shape, and we just couldn't get to that point. I will go banana sandwich all over that. Good God. That would make my head explode with rage. I will say this also. I really feel for the people that went down there last night expecting to see Joel Embiid, expecting to see the big three, if you will, with Paul George on the floor. Paul George got hurt in the preseason. I know what happened there. He's got a bone bruise. I know that. I have no idea what's going on with Joel Embiid as far as health. And it's in the back of my mind that he is more hurt than they're leading, or excuse me, he is hurt. Because right now they're not leading, oh, he's hurt. They're not even saying that. There's like, this is part of the plan. One thing Nick Nurse has definitely acknowledged, this is part of the plan. And the plan is to have Joel Embiid ramp himself up to be ready to play. How a guy who has played in the Olympics is all of a sudden not ready for the regular season opener is beyond me. And if you want to have him on some resting plan, don't have it part of opening night, for crying out loud. You go on the road immediately to face the Raptors. You go on the road for the next 2, as a matter of fact. That couldn't be part of the ramp? That was ramping? No ramping? It's terrible. And it cheats the 76ers fans out of watching their MVP candidate out. And now, MVP caliber player. I'll say that. Because he's not going to sniff the NBA award this year. He could play the best basketball he's ever played in his life. Which would be pretty amazing considering he played some pretty damn good basketball in the regular season when he was healthy last year. But he could play some of the best basketball he's ever played in his life. He ain't going to sniff the MVP award because he's not going to sniff 65 games. He might get to 60. I think the most optimistic 76ers fan right now is thinking, maybe he gets to 60, but it ain't happening. My overall takeaway is I hate the fact that this is going down for the fans, but unfortunately, the only thing that matters right now, like here's the trade-off. Are you willing to trade the majority of the regular season for Joel Embiid for the best possible chance? There's no guarantees in life, we know this, but the best possible chance for him to be full bore in the postseason? Because unfortunately, that's where I'm at. Does it make no sense? Is it unfortunate? Is it not fair that the Sixers, even though he's healthy right now, didn't play him in the season opener? Yeah, it sucks. And it's bull is what it is. But if this is what it's going to take to make sure or give him the best possible chance of being ready for the postseason, well then, yeah, I am full bore with Joel Embiid not playing. I hate it, but I understand that this is the state we are in. It's a sad state of affairs. But the Sixers, unfortunately, right now don't have a Joel Embiid that's getting any younger. Maybe they can get one that's going to be as healthy as possible come the postseason. And imagine this. Imagine we see MVP level Joel Embiid in the postseason. Sixers are going to the championship. Paul George healthy. Tyrese Maxey continue to do his thing. One thing I did like about Tyrese Maxey's performance last night, afterwards, I should say, is he said he didn't play. He wasn't forcing things, I think was the question. He said, I wouldn't say I was forcing things. I think I was just being ultra aggressive. And the one thing I didn't like was in retrospect, he said, I think I played too fast. I think that's fair. There are instances at the rim that he normally finishes, and he just didn't do it last night. Pressing, that's what he said. He said, I'm not pressing. He was asked the question, did you feel like you were pressing tonight? He said, not pressing, just ultra aggressive, and played too fast. I think that's a fair assessment of what you saw last night. But Tyrese Maxey continued to improve. Paul George be healthy. And some of these other guys on the squad look like they're going to be some nice contributors, certainly. Whether it's Caleb Martin, KJ Martin, whether it's Kelly Oubre, of course. All these guys. Yabusele, obviously, he looked pretty good last night. Crucial turnover that really helped the Bucks in that second quarter start to really run away with it, but I feel like that was just going to be inevitable. Sixers weren't going to play a perfect game. And that's what they would need to beat the Bucks last night, unfortunately, but even without Chris Middleton. But that was my takeaway from the game last night, and that's where I'm at with Joel Embiid. As far as that game goes last night, yeah, you weren't going to win that one. Unless Tyrese Maxey absolutely went off. He didn't, and that was that. Sixers are in Toronto tomorrow night. Hopefully to bounce back. Gary Trent Jr., by the way, from the Bucks was on Maxey. Did pretty well against him, but it was more on Maxey, I thought, than Gary Trent Jr., especially. Maxey had some decent looks last night and just wasn't converting, unfortunately. I think he only hit 1 3 in the game. Oh, maybe 2 for 8. It wasn't impressive. Okay. Let's get into your Philadelphia Eagles. So a couple things to go over here. Nick Sirianni addressed the media yesterday. I didn't get much out of what Sirianni was talking about. Also, I felt bad for my man. He had an allergy attack, I think, and I can certainly relate to that. Literally had to walk away from the podium. I've never seen that before. He's just like, I'll be right back, guys. Walked away, came back. So that was interesting. The other thing is he talked about Jalen Hurts' ball security. Obviously, that's improving, something he's working hard on, something the organization's working hard on. Then he also gave way to Jalen Hurts later in the day for his press conference. Jalen talked about a bunch of stuff, and one of the things that really caught my attention was the Cincinnati defense. You know, Jalen always has to be asked about the defense that he's facing. Otherwise, he'll bring it up himself at the end of his presence. You're not going to ask me about the opposing defense. He does it for his own defense, so he does it for the opposing as well. Jalen Hurts, I believe, rattles off a bunch of lies right here. Here he is.
I think they're a great defense. I think they're a great team. They're a gritty team. They find ways to win. They're a competitive team. Front seven definitely stands out, and then their DBs make plays on the ball. So we got a good challenge ahead of us.
Okay. All right. You know, that's respectful, but great is a lie. This is a team that's allowing the 9th most yards in the NFL, the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a team that has allowed the 13 most points on average, so middle of the pack. This is a team that has the 7th fewest sacks in the NFL. So Jalen's going to be they've taken the football away 8 times this year. All right. Something to be aware of, I guess, there. Yeah, they're not great. They're not great. 7 points they allowed, the Cincinnati Bengals, were against the New York Giants, who we just saw. And the New York Giants had their left tackle in that one, and they still couldn't do much there against that Bengals defense. The Bengals are 3-4 going into this game. The Eagles are only 2.5-point underdogs. Look, I don't want to just push the Bengals aside here, but the Eagles lose this game, even it being a road game, I don't care. They need to win. This is an opponent that, yes, offensively speaking, can light up the scoreboard at any given minute. But the Eagles are in a situation right now where if you want to talk about ramp-up games, you want to talk about get-right games, you just had 2 get-right games, and you appear to have gotten right. A blowout against the Giants, not a close nail-biter of a game, is significant. A blowout, even against the Giants, not a good football team, a divisional opponent, you dominated that. If you just eked that game out, I'd feel differently. But this is supposed to be a great buildup for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Bengals have their 2 wins against the Panthers, who suck, and the Browns, who suck. And the other win against the Panthers, Giants, and Browns. Yeah, 7 points against the Giants is what they allowed. 14 points against the Browns. So they actually allowed touchdowns against the Browns. I'm not concerned here. I'm not concerned. I think the Eagles win this game. I don't think it's a blowout, but I think the Eagles win this game by a touchdown. So I'll be betting the Eagles in this one. But talk about a great defense. Let's see here. 38 points to the Commanders. Good. I don't think they're great, but good. They allowed 24 points to the Panthers. They allowed 38 points to the Ravens. Or excuse me, 41 points to the Ravens. The Ravens are a really good football team. 41 is pretty damn good, but if you're a great defense, you're not allowed 41 points. So yeah, I don't think they're great. And he went beyond player speak, if you will. The other thing he got into was this big play identity. He first answered a question about the big play identity of the Eagles. Are they too reliant on it? And then he was asked a follow-up question to see if it was something that they were reaching for.
No, we talk about identity, but I think that's a part of our identity. So I think that's something people got to accept.
As a follow-up to that, you talked about the importance of getting the first down on the opening series. Do you feel like sometimes those shots can kind of take the offense out of rhythm? Just kind of seeing those easy completions, like seeing the ball completed, I guess.
It's just about, I talk about the importance of getting first downs. There's multiple ways to do that. And it doesn't have to be a down-the-field shot, obviously. But I think, it's a matter of executing what's called and everybody being on the same page and being committed to what we're doing. And so we got to do it cleaner. It's been some funky things that have happened. You have a tip ball, you have, a false start. We were not really helping ourselves in these situations. So that's why I'm excited about what's to come, because it's all things that we can fix. And it's been different things that have come up in each game. So the most important things is coming out early and staying ahead of the sticks.
There we go. Certainly, I don't fault the Eagles for going for big plays. I fault the Eagles like I would any football team, but especially the Eagles, because they did it so much last year, for trying to force big plays. Like, to me, again, I go back to baseball. It's the equivalent of someone trying to hit a grand slam when they're at the plate with the bases loaded, as opposed to just putting the ball in the gap. Like, get a pitch to drive, you drive it. Hopefully it leaves the park. Like, trying to do too much, hitting a home run every at bat. Nope, not going to do that. Try to make good contact. Try to have a successful play. Try to get you anything that's going to put you in third and short, third and manageable, whatever. The Eagles will say this, though, 4th and 3. I normally, I rave all the time about situational football and how much that bothered me last year with Jalen and the way they played in the fourth quarter. You can make this argument for last week's or 2 weeks ago against the Browns, airing it out to seal the deal to A.J. Brown. Very similar situation in this one, except it wasn't the end of the game. It was in the second quarter or third quarter. You had a situation, or no, second quarter. You had a situation with Jalen Hurts where he had single coverage on A.J. Brown. You have single coverage on A.J. Brown, and you have the timing down. Look, it took a quarter against the Browns for A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts to get their timing down. Did not start out sharp. But ever since then, timing's down. They're back, baby. So the telekinesis between the two, the chemistry between the two, you air it out in single coverage, A.J. Brown going to go get that ball. That's where always open comes into play. And if it's even close, forget about it being a 50-50 ball. A.J.'s going to get that. So if you have an opportunity there in a 4th and 3, you're in the Giants territory, you can air it out. I have no problem with that whatsoever, because AJ's going to come down with that. Later in the game, you run it again when you're up 17-3 and you're deep in Giant territory. And I'm thinking they're not doing anything. It should be 14-3. They're not doing anything. You have an opportunity on a 4th and 3 from the 5-yard line. You have an opportunity there to just take the points. Take the points. They went for it. Jalen converted on a scramble to his right, got the first down, and then ended up scoring the touchdown. Another touchdown. So, egg on my face there. But watch that game play out. Situational football, if it's anybody other than AJ, even Devontae Smith, who I love, that's not his play. That's AJ's play. And he made it. But big plays are going to be a part of this Eagles offense. When you have talent like this, here's what I'm not going to go down the avenue. I think it's really obvious when people are reaching for something to critique a team after a win. And if you're going to critique a team for going for a big play when it's there, I don't think that's something that needs to be addressed. If it's last year and you're trying to force plays, yeah, that's a problem. I've referenced many times the game that lives rent-free in my head from last year. Not even the game, but the play was the first interception that Jalen Hurts threw against the Seattle Seahawks. That game is just still on repeat in my head. And if you listen to the show a lot, you know that I bring that up a lot because it is rent-free in my cranium. I could do without Jalen Hurts trying to air the football out to Quez Watkins down the middle of the field when it's a first down. You got a open receiver at the line of scrimmage. There were two things actually in that game that Jalen Hurts did against the Giants that let me think, maybe we're not going to see that old Jalen Hurts hero ball, whatever. It was a sack that he took that I referenced earlier in the show, and it was checking down at the line of scrimmage. And then from a Kellen Moore standpoint, it was a play action out of shotgun, faked halfback draw over the middle of the field to a streaking A.J. Brown. Talking about bread and butter. While they're afraid of the run, sucking in the linebackers, being able to hit guys over the top. That's going to benefit the Eagles greatly. And you know what's going to come from that? Big plays. So I'm not going to be offended if Devontae Smith breaks one. I'm not going to be offended if A.J. Brown has a 44-yard catch. I'm not going to be offended if Saquon Barkley breaks through the line of scrimmage or runs on the outside edge and is able to get you 55 yards or runs through the middle of the field for 38 or 44. I ain't going to be offended by it. I'm going to embrace it because isn't that why you got this talent? You could be having a really bad game. And people bring this up all the time when they talk about the defense. They'll say something along the lines of, other than that 70-yard run by Derrick Henry, they really kept him under wraps throughout the game. Yeah, but that's why he's Derrick Henry, because he just needs one of those to turn the tide of the game. That's all he needs. Oh, Saquon Barkley, if they didn't let him have that 55-yard run, he still had a 38-yard run, and he still had a 41-yard run. But yeah, he's Saquon Barkley, man. He could average 2 yards per carry for 10 carries, and then he gets 3 other ones. The next thing you know, he's got 200 yards on you, or in this case, 176. Yeah, that's why you can't take those away. You just take away. No, that's why he's there. He's waiting for that mistake to be made, that one missed tackle. He's waiting to not bull run. He's waiting to truck somebody while he's running up the sideline. That's why I'm not going to say, oh, A.J. Brown's got too many big plays. Devontae Smith, too many big plays. Saquon Barkley, too many good plays. Big plays. No, this is part of the identity. You know what that is overall? It's the identity that I only care about. The only identity I care about. You win. That's the only identity I care about. You win. And last year it was to a fault, unfortunately, in terms of the way they won. But finding ways to win can never be your identity for a season, like it was for the Eagles last year, with the exception of 2 games. They found a way to win. No, controlling games, winning those games. That's the identity I want. Whatever team you need to be, you be that team. You be a running team, that's how you're going to win it. You be a passing team, if that's how you need to win it. But if you're talking about bread and butter, everything on this team, I think, should start and stop with Saquon Barkley. If you're looking for the identity of the Philadelphia Eagles, if that's the word you like to use, I hate it, but if that's what you're looking for, I think of a bread and butter. What's the thing you can always go back to that you always think is going to work? You can always have confidence in working. It's going to be Saquon Barkley. That's what it's going to be. As far as the kill shots, that'll just open up things more for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if Devontae Smith had a huge game against the Bengals, a huge game against Cincinnati Bengals. That's the way it's kind of worked in the past with Devontae Smith. If he kind of gets forgotten about for a minute, he comes roaring back. Never forget, opening game against the Detroit Lions in Detroit, 2022. Devontae Smith got nothing. Following game went off. Plus 100, I think he had. So that wouldn't surprise me as well. But I'm not going to be mad when these players with big playmaking ability, to steal Asante Samuel's phrase, with big playmaking ability are making big plays. I only am going to get bothered by it. I'm only going to get, it's only going to grind my gears in the event that it's something that the Eagles are forcing like they did at the end of last year. That's where they get into trouble. So that's what Jalen Hurts had to get into yesterday. Next up, Cooper DeJean addressing the media, just talked about playing that Cincinnati offense and how his own team really helps him be ready for this one.
We get to go up against one of the best receiver duos in practice every week, so that helps us. They present their challenges. Obviously they've, Jamar and Burrow have, played together for a while. And then you throw T. Higgins in there. He's another good receiver, big guy. So it's definitely going to be a challenge for us. So we're just going to have to stay focused and prepare, throughout the week for that challenge.
I made a big deal of this yesterday. I'm going to make a big deal of this again. Jamar Chase goes into this game leading the NFL in receiving yards with 620 receiving yards. Chris Godwin, he's at 576 on the season. Jamar Chase also 6 touchdown receptions, which, by the way, also leads the league. He's in a tie for Mike Evans. That's the way that one looks right now. That's how that works. That's what we're looking at. I love this challenge. And I think the greatest compliment, other than Jalen Hurts telling a reporter You didn't ask me about how our defense played. They were great. Other than something like that, I think the greatest compliment players can give to another unit that they're not on is when they say, we got a great, if they're playing against a great running back, if they're playing against a great receiving core, if they're playing against a great quarterback, a defensive player like Cooper DeJean saying, well, yeah, we get great practice every week playing against our receiving core. Like, I think that's the best compliment you can give to your own teammates that are playing on the opposite side of the football. And I think he's absolutely right. Cooper DeJean and Quenyon Mitchell could not be in a better situation. First off, to have immediate, like, not looking like they're lost, not looking like, you know what, they got a lot to learn, and maybe next year they'll look like some ballers. No, they look like some ballers right now. It's been 2 games for Quenyon, or excuse me, it's been 2 games for Cooper DeJean. It's been 6 for Quenyon Mitchell. They look like they belong, and they look like they have not only been here before, they look like they've been here for a while. And to be able to get matched up at this point in their rookie seasons against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith in practice, yeah, that gets them ready for games like Jamar Chase. That gets them ready for games like T. Higgins. I want to see how they handle the size of a T. Higgins because they haven't seen that yet. I mean, Mike Evans would be about the closest thing to it. But, man, they're in a great situation. Not only are they getting these kind of challenges and rising to the occasion, but they're also getting these challenges in practice to make sure that not just once a week, but all week, they're going up against top-tier talent that's only going to make them better. Love that from Cooper DeJean. Next up, I never thought I'd play a Ben Von Sumeren soundbite, but by golly, the Eagles got a fullback. The last player I remember lining up at fullback with any regularity was a guy who was actually a fullback, Owen Schmidt. I got to know Owen Schmidt a little bit when he was here in Philadelphia. Awesome dude. And I remember talking to him at his locker. And I was it was at the end of the year, and I remember just saying, man, like, hey man, how do you feel about the year and all that? And the Eagles had a rough go of it. I think it was 2011. They had the lockout, and they were upset, and everyone was upset, and whatever. And I just said, well, how's next year look for you? He goes, I'm probably not here. And I'm like, really? And he goes, oh yeah, I mean, just look at the league, man. Like, the fullbacks are dying. Like, there is no, like, the fullback position is a dying breed in the NFL. Like, nobody has a fullback anymore. And I'll never forget, of all people, Riley Cooper was right there. And he's like, man, don't talk like that. You can't talk like that. And I was like, what? This is what's happening. And yeah, he's right. We haven't seen a fullback since. It hasn't been good. So Ben Von Sumeren is now a part-time fullback for your Philadelphia Eagles. And yesterday he got asked about a couple of things. One, how he splits his time. He says he goes into defensive meetings throughout the week, and then walkthrough, he's with the offense. I guess that makes sense. Like, he's not guaranteed to play linebacker in a game, but he's guaranteed that they have a part of their package to be playing the fullback position. So walkthrough with the offense, meetings with the defense. Ben Von Sumeren on getting his feet wet in the NFL at the fullback position, and of course,
feels natural to me. I don't feel like there's really any rust I needed to knock off or anything like that when I got introduced to it. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it.
When did you sort of know that was going to be installed and this often? And what was that process like?
I started around the end of training camp. So I've been introduced to it, and they worked me into it. So it just progressively gotten a little bit more and more every single week.
Whose idea was it?
The staff. Yeah, the staff.
How did you accept it at first?
I'm cool with it. Like, I'm super willing to do whatever it takes with this team. So yeah, I really enjoy doing it, and I'll do whatever the team really asks.
There you go. There you go. Isn't that what you want from everybody? Whatever the team asks. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in the history of the Farzy Show, we played a soundbite from an Eagles fullback. That's exciting. Shout out John Ritchie, too, by the way. Hey, before we get into the chat check, let me tell you. Oh, Flyers lost yesterday. Again. They scored a couple goals. It wasn't pretty. It was bad again. 2 empty net goals are never a good thing. They lost 6-3. So that happened. Matvei Michkov continues to lead the Flyers in points. He had a goal and an assist last night. So there. I'm sorry. Matvei Michkov. Yeah, someone's been working on his Russian. Anyway, but yeah, the Flyers are terrible. Good God. Again, second half team. They're going to be a second half of the season team. I'm telling you. Flyers are going to be a second half season team. Hey, let me tell you about the great people at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Download the MyBookie app to your phone. Create an account. Use promo code FARZI. And get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. How about the Game Time app? Download the Game Time app to your phone. Create an account. Use promo code FARZI. And get $20 off your first ticket purchase on the Game Time app. You want to go to a college football game? You want to go to a hockey game? You want to go to an NBA game? Game Time app has you covered. Great seats. Great prices when you toggle the Game Time Picks feature. You see it all. Everything that's available on the Game Time app. When you toggle the Game Time Picks feature, you see the best prices for the best seats. And also the all-in pricing feature. You know exactly what you're paying before you check out. So there's no sticker shock at the end. Download the Game Time app. When you want to go to the next game, use promo code FARZI and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat check and get into it all. Sean Kilrain, hope you enjoyed your soundbite, your fullback soundbite. I believe Hurts can win, says Eric Wisniewski. So do I. April, good morning, April. Eric, Sixers need Embiid for the playoffs, not crap games. Yeah, the other thing I thought about too is you could see the Bucks in the playoffs too. So them seeing as little as Embiid as possible is not a bad thing. Wine Niners Wine, good morning. Sean Gillespie, good morning. Does load management actually work for anyone besides LeBron, maybe? Load management worked pretty damn well for Kawhi Leonard. Sixers found that one out the hard way, unfortunately. That ain't cool. Wait, what the heck's going on here? Okay. Load management. Hurts pats himself on the back routinely by what he says he shouldn't ever talk. It's embarrassing. Really? Babs, I don't get that vibe from Hurts. Eagles fan, what's up? Jason A, hello. James Alexander, good morning. Last night we didn't have momentum. Didn't have anything, unfortunately. Cooper is awesome. Both are studs. I agree. Tim M, he was awesome at West. Oh yeah, my man. Owen Schmidt was great. There we go. Tim, I missed the fullback. How much compensation would it take to get Myles Garrett? By Jim Mara, my Jim Mara moment with the Lions. I feel like it's going to take a second and a third. I feel like it should take a first, but I'm always surprised by how little these guys go for. Ben Von Summeren's a player. I like a fullback idea, so do I. Bobby Chong, that stuck out to you too. It stuck out to me as well. Ben Von Sumeren, when he was asked about whose idea it was, the staff. Because we were all waiting for, like, Kellen, Howie, Jeffrey, Nick, Big Dom. He was like, the staff. Big Dom came over and said, hey, you're playing fullback. Thanks, Farzi. Yes, I did. Fullback dying breed. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Oh, Babs, yeah. Saying the Bengals have a top defense when they absolutely don't is a good example. That's true. That's true. Also, what type of move did the Eagles make trade deadline less than 2 weeks? Cooper Kupp. Jason A., what do I think about Hopkins going to Kansas City? I think it's unfair. Ooh, favorite fullback, Kevin Turner. Great reference. Yeah. Cooper Kupp rumored to be Eagles supposed to be interested there. Like to see it. Would like to see it. Imagine that. That's one hell of a receiving core. That's dangerous, is what that is. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Hey, 76ers back at it tomorrow night against the Toronto Raptors. I believe that's a 7 o'clock tip-off in Toronto. So I'll have your coverage for that one. on Locked On Sports Philadelphia. Make sure you like and subscribe to Locked On Sports Philadelphia. Make sure you lock and subscribe. Ooh, yeah, Max Crosby is another rumor out there, allegedly available. I'd like to see that as well. It would certainly make up for Bryce Huff being not so good. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Like and subscribe to the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Like and subscribe to Jacob Media YouTube channel. Like and subscribe to Seth Joyner Show YouTube channel for all your Eagles pre- and post-game needs with myself, Seth Joyner, and, of course, our good friend Derek Gunn. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Hopefully, I see you tonight. Chickies and Pete's in South Philly, 7 o'clock for the Jason Kelsey costume contest. Until then, talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your night. My name is Mark Farzad. Have a great day, everybody.